I just think that performance is just so innately a part of um, my life, and it always has been. And, I come from a very creative family, and we were always encouraged to, you know, create and draw and do anything that tickled that artistic, creative side versus like sit and rot and play video games or like watch TV. Um, and so, yeah, I think I was just born a performer and always will be a performer till the day I die.
You're listening to Creatives Prevail, unraveling the stories of creative professionals.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creatives Prevail, where we dive into the stories, challenges, and decisions that help shape your own creative journey. I'm your host, Mike Zimmerlich, and each week I sit down with creators, artists, and industry professionals to uncover the lessons they learned building their careers. Our next guest is musician, artist, and actor Rivkah Reyes, who most know her for her role as Katie the bassist in the film School of Rock. In this interview, we talk about her music career as well as acting and writing, including her award-winning short film, Gianna. We also talk about her latest single and music video, Miss Congeniality. Let's get into it. Hey, Rivkah, how's it going?
It's going so good, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for so much for being on the show. I'm really excited about this interview, and we'll try to. I noticed that you mentioned about getting some food in a little bit, so we'll try to go through as much as we can. But gosh, we have so much to cover, and really excited because you've done so much in your career, and everything from acting to music to writing. Like, you've done so many things, and one of the core things I noticed is this overall subject of performance. And I know that's a very broad statement, but I did want to know what that means to you, like the importance of performance.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a performer since I was a kid. I started, taking music lessons when I was two. As soon as I could pick up a hand percussion instrument and learn how to clap on beats, I knew that music was what I wanted to do. And my sisters and I would write little plays and perform them for our family. And I would even, I mean, I had like one of those cassette like recording uh, cassette players, and I would record little radio plays. And I don't know, I was always performing and singing and all of that from when I was honestly like I probably started singing before I could talk. Not to be cliche about that, but I just think that performance is just so innately a part of my life, and it always has been. And I come from a very creative family, and we were always encouraged to, you know, create and draw and do anything that tickled that artistic, creative side versus like sit and rot and play video games or like watch TV. Um, and so, yeah, I think I was just born a performer and always will be a performer till the day I die.
But what for music lessons? Was there a particular instrument? Was it vocal? Was it
So I trained at the Suzuki Institute in Chicago, where I grew up. And the way it worked was like as soon as you were 2 years old, you were eligible for a class called Baby Steps. And Baby Steps was like, you know, learning how to sing, learning how to play like drums, and learning what rhythm was, and learning what um, like a beat was, and very basic things. And it was just like a fun class for honestly for like parents and kids to go to together. And then by the time you were four, you were eligible to start taking private lessons and group lessons on an instrument. And they gave us some options. It was all to be classical, and the options were like pretty standard: violin, piano, cello, flute, and guitar, which stuck out to my family. And my mom had taken violin and flute and piano when she was a kid. So those seemed like the options because then she could help me. And initially I picked violin, and then on my first violin lesson, I was holding the violin like a guitar. I think a little bit of my dad's influence kind of creeped in there because we would listen to rock music every morning on the way to school, and I would like watch videos of like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Queen, like whoever, and see the rock stars with their guitars. And my natural intuition was to hold the violin like a guitar and play it like that. And my parents were like, "Uh-oh, I think we got a little guitar player on our hands." And so I started taking guitar lessons, and I was classically trained in that. And I fell in love with guitar like immediately. It was just like once I learned how to play Twinkle Twinkle, I was like hooked. And then I started ear training myself, like outside of the lessons, because like with the lessons, you're pretty much learning like little drills to learn how to do scales, and then maybe playing a song. And with the Suzuki method, there are like levels, and there's like different books with like 10 songs per book, I think. And the level one stuff, I kind of breezed through it and was like, I want more. And so then I would just listen to whatever my dad was playing, Zeppelin, like Prince, whatever it was, and just like try to kind of play along with it. And I found myself pretty nifty with the picking stuff up by ear.
That's great to have because I've also taken music lessons when I was about 3, 5 years old on piano, and had the visual. I can read sheet music like no other, but I never got the ear at all this time. And I was a trumpet player for a while. I trained in jazz and never got the ear for it ever. Like you tell me, hey, what this note is, and I would have a hard time guessing. But if you put a sheet of music in front of me, no problem at all. So
See,
that's a very unique talent to have.
I struggle with the sheet music still to this day. Like I know how to read music, but bass clef, I could not even tell you what's going on there. And piano, forget about it. I like if you tell me what chords, if you tell me what chords are in a song, I can figure it out. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much learning everything I learned by ear. um,
That's incredible.
yeah. So you play piano,
Well, I used to very, very long time ago.
but you don't anymore.
No, I don't really get. It's interesting because I found that when you get older, if you don't have an outlet to really play in, it's really challenging to just play for your own sake. I mean, some people can do it, but for myself, I'm a very entrepreneurial spirit. So for me, I need a goal. Like if I'm going to be doing this,
Mm.
why am I doing this? Right. So
Let me
once
ask you
piano was,
this.
yeah,
When's your birthday?
December,
Are you this late December?
early December, December 6th.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sagittarius even. Okay.
Yes, or
Interesting.
the new one.
I
What's the new one called again? I
Oh, we
forgot
don't
now.
believe in that. I don't
Oh, we don't
really
relay that. Yeah, there was the one that they
I
kind
don't
of threw
count
in
that
there
one.
not too long ago. Yeah,
No, that one does not exist in my style guide.
in
But
your style, fair.
okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Sagittarius.
Yeah, I guess I get that with the entrepreneurial spirit though that you mentioned and like needing a goal. That does kind of track. I was thinking maybe you were Capricorn. But
Hmm.
anyway, that doesn't matter. None of that
Yeah.
matters.
No. It is very interesting. But yeah, but having that ear. I mean, even going through ear training is really really challenging to be able to have that, and it is an amazing skill set to have because, like you said, you can listen to something and be able to pick up an instrument and kind of figure things out as you go. But also comes to that you were in an environment that supported that gave you
Yeah.
the training and also the support to be able to perform and to learn how to play music.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. My guitar teacher growing up, her name's Julia Miller. She's amazing and taught me everything I know. She had come from a non-classical, background. She always played in like cool bands, like noise music, mathy stuff that I, could not even remotely define by one single genre. And she had in her house like all cool pedals and cool gear and electric guitars and stuff. And I would always be like, if we have time, can we like play with some of those? And she'd be like, no, we have to do the class stuff. But I could tell she was like yearning on the inside to teach me how to rock out. Um, yeah, luckily we did get the opportunity later, but I won't spoil the good part.
Yeah, we can certainly jump into that. So most people know you from the film School of Rock, where you played the bassist. And what I found really interesting, and I love the film as well, but I interviewed a number of musicians on this show before, and a number of them have mentioned that their inspiration, the reason why they got into rock music and wanted to become a musician, was because of that film, which is
Yeah.
truly remarkable.
Yeah. I mean, I still to this day get that. Like, I get a lot of people, um, either people that I like meet out and about in New York or, just in the DMs or messages to my team or whatever, like from people just being like, you were so inspiring in that movie, or like that movie inspired me to start a band, all of that. So I mean, the legacy lives on, and it just being even a small part of it, although I would say that the bassist is sort of the main character in most bands. Just kidding. Um, that it's just an honor to be a part of something that was so inspiring to so many people. Because not every kid is as lucky as I was to have a family that's super supportive of their kids, like artistic endeavors. I think more so my generation, but like now, like I think parents are really, really dying to have their kids be a little rock star if that's what they want.
Absolutely. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I think also these days is that the ability to have a career in music now. I mean, you hear so many artists talking about the struggles, right? About, whether it's social media or just trying to get music out there, just getting people to pay attention. But also you have to realize is, if you put into perspective, that wasn't the case a long time ago, where when social media didn't even exist, and the only way you could ever realistically produce commercial music is to have a financial backing, go into a professional recording studio, happen to be able to lock in a label deal to get you into record stores and on the radio. I mean, that was for the most part the traditional model for a very long time, and some outliers, but for the most part that's how it worked. But nowadays, anybody who has a phone and has a laptop can make professional grade music and release it to the entire world. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean
that
one
is
of my singles
unprecedented.
is yeah, one of my singles is a demo that I made on my phone. It's like
Wow, really?
a voice memo that I made while I was staying in a legendary haunted hotel using a guitar that I rented from the guitar store next door, and like just had to record it and had to make this thing, and I put it on Spotify, like almost a year later, but just it's cool, like the things that can be achieved. And I think that everyone having access to things like Ableton and Logic and whatever, and Spotify and whatever the other streaming platforms is really cool. Simultaneously, it makes everything that much harder for indie artists and people that don't have label deals or like PR or anything like that to like you know explode onto the scene in like an overnight way. Like most of these like overnight success stories that we're seeing actually secretly took 10 years, 20 years, 30
They
years,
take a
like however
long
long.
time. there
Yeah.
are there are exceptions like anything else, but most of the people that I know that have developed successful music careers have been doing it for a long time, and most people don't realize that. They only see the success part. They don't see the trial and errors that they've gone through. They haven't seen some musicians that, especially if they start popping off in their your early to mid 20s is because they've been doing this professionally since they were 15, 16 years old, and they've just been working on it
Right.
since then, leading up to now. So, and yeah, and those are the ones who are successful, right? And that's a small percentage of the ones that
Very
actually become
small.
success. Very small. So there's even then there's no guarantee, but the ones that have found success are usually ones who've done it very early on. They're the ones that have been able to try to understand the music industry. A
Yeah.
lot of them, they start working, they either work at a record label, they intern with a management company, whatever the case is, to also learn how how that side of the business works. A lot of times it's how you get your relationships and networking in, right? So
Yeah.
it's,
I
that's,
wish I had
people don't
done
think
that.
about
I
that
wish I
stuff.
had like done some sort of like an internship at like a studio or something, or like Electric Lady or something like that, or Atlantic or whatever, because I don't know anything about the music business. Like I'm just now starting to learn, and thankfully I have an amazing team. Like, and I am
That's
very
great.
privileged in that. Like I happen to work with people who are giants and who have done this for a long time, and who don't have the same kind of like trajectory of me, where I kind of zigzag around from like film to music to comedy to back to film to back to music to writing to whatever. um they've been like consistently in the business of music for a long time, and they know what they're doing, so thank God, because I I still find myself sometimes having conversations with like my producer or my manager and being like, oh wait, like why does it have to come out on a Friday? Like questions that I think people would be like, that's a stupid question. But they're so gentle with me, and they're so happy to tell me the way things are. And I'm also very happy to just like surrender, my music career to them, because they know what they're talking about and I don't, and I love learning new things.
I am a strong believer, Rivka, that there is no such thing as a stupid question. And I tell my artists this all the time, or anybody who wants asks me questions about the music industry or the music business. It's, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Like, I admire the fact that you ask those questions, because there are so
Yeah,
many that don't, and then they're confused about why their team are making the decisions that they are, or get frustrated when something doesn't work out the way that they hope to, which always happens. And that's always something that I also
yeah,
tell my artists too, is like, most of the things we'll be doing together will fail, because it's true, most things will fail, but it's finding that that is the journey to finding what ends up working. And
totally.
you have to ask questions, because otherwise, how you want why, otherwise you're completely left in the dark of as far as what your team is doing, and why are they doing those things, and why are they making those decisions, like you said, releasing, dropping a single on a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And with, the social media of it all, every artist I know is like, ugh, I hate doing social media. Like, why do I have to do this? Even I the other day was like, you wouldn't ask Kurt Cobain to make a TikTok promoting his new single. Like, you wouldn't ask Amy Winehouse. And I'm like, right, you wouldn't, because that wasn't the norm back then. This is the norm now. It's like the norm
Correct.
now is that if people do have to, make content, which it's like such a derogatory word. I feel like the word content creator can be like a slur these days.
Yeah.
But in order for people to care about your music, you kind of got to build a relationship with them, and that's what these social media apps initially were for. Was just building relationships and being on the same platform as, like, yes, your friends, but also your favorite musicians, your favorite actors, your favorite brands, and everyone's on like an equal-ish playing field. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's wild to watch how technology is like both making dreams come true and crushing hopes and dreams of many at the same time. But
it's
it is what
it's
it is.
true.
I happen to really like social media, and I like to think I do it pretty well. I'm still learning some little tips and tricks. I have a coach, I have a guy who sends
Smart.
me ideas for content that like either works or it doesn't. It just depends on like how I interpret those prompts, and make them my own. But It's all just like
That
the science experiment. It's all a big like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks and finding the formula, to not necessarily go viral every time I post, but just to, what works? What's the unique Rivkah Reyes thing that gets people to find my music on Spotify? Because that's the other thing. People's attention spans are so short that, they see something that seems like it's a call to action that would make them leave the app TikTok. And, they don't want to do that. They want to stay and scroll forever. So I'm like, how do I grab them?
is exactly correct, which is a own
Usually the
challenge in
School of
itself.
Rock thing really helps. Usually the School of Rock
Yeah,
thing or like playing into the lesbian
yeah.
thing really, not playing into the lesbian thing. It's like just making it like specific to that community so that they're like, oh, there's a new lesbian girl singer on the in the chat. Like, let's check her out.
It that's more tribal. Is part of part of your identity that you wanted to make sure that people were aware of. So because you want to find others that can relate to yourself and to your experience. So I think
Right.
that's always important, right? And again, everyone's going to be different as far as their comfort level is on discussing anything personal about themselves. But if that is if that's part of your persona as an artist, that's important because you're letting people know this is the type of people that I'm trying to attract, or this is the type of experience that I'm going to want to portray through my performance, through my music.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a journey for sure the last couple years of releasing music. Like film is such a, you know, visual medium and it kind of there's like a very different audience for both of those things. It's like School of Rock, we were so lucky because it was a music centered film. So it like for film people, like having Richard Linklater and Mike White, the dream and Jack Black, the like trifecta, like the holy trinity behind that film. And then like for the music heads, having it be so like rich and full of musical references and fun, jokes about being in a band and things like that. It really blended those two worlds in a way that I don't think was really seen that much before, aside from like Spinal Tap and things like that. But yeah, I didn't grow up with that type of movie. And so I feel, again, really lucky to have been a part of it. And I feel, you know, grateful that it inspired a wave of, you know, young musicians to get started.
Did you find that there was a because you mentioned that starting to develop your solo career? Do you find that there was a challenge, especially post School of Rock, to start developing your own identity and your own career? And like, because again, you were for after that point, I know that you were in a number of bands that you trying to get off the ground, and some came and went, but then also you're getting continue your acting career as well. So did you find that there
Yeah,
was challenges trying to essentially make it on your own?
definitely. Well, I haven't talked about this a super lot in the public, but after School of Rock, and typically for, I guess this was like more back in the day, you know, before like big streaming platforms and stuff, and before like the rise of Nepo babies. But back in the day, uh, right after School of Rock came out and it was huge, I started taking a lot of meetings, both with like film people, but also music people. And my mom and I went to meet with a songwriter, producer, um, who was interested in me doing an album. And he had written some, pretty generic, like, I guess you could call it pop songs for me and showed them to us. And we kind of just weren't vibing with it. My mom and I were like, this doesn't feel authentic to me. Because I also like started writing songs pretty young, like maybe when I was in fourth grade, right before the School of Rock, that I wouldn't dare show anybody. But, I had a banger in the summer before seventh grade called Two Guys, and it was like about these two boys at summer camp that were fighting over me. And at the end of the song, I ended up choosing myself because I didn't even like either of them all that much. Um, but yeah, there was a while where I was performing that song live as an adult, and it was pretty fun. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of just wanted to have agency over my creative voice if I was going to pursue a career in music. And I also kind of felt like I would do better with a band because School of Rock was my first band. And I mean, on day one of rehearsals, they put me and Joey and Kevin, who play the guitarist and the drummer, respectively, um, in a room together to just jam, you know? And I had never played bass before. I had one like mini bass lesson with my guitar teacher who was just like, you just play the rhythm of the song and you play the root note of the chord. Feel free to add a little flair if you feel comfortable with that. But for most songs, like classic rock songs, you're going to be hanging on that beat and you're going to be hanging on that root note of the chord and have fun. And it's a lot easier than classical guitar. I was just like, okay, great. And then they put us in a room together. We played Iron Man and Smells Like Teen Spirit and Smoke on the Water. And I was just like, I want to do this forever. Like, I want to be in a band forever. And I had so much fun playing with the boys. And like, when I started having these meetings with music people who wanted me to, sing the songs that they wrote and they just didn't feel like me, I was just like, ugh, I don't think this is what I want to do. And then similarly with acting, I was auditioning a lot. I auditioned for a lot of Disney, a lot of Nickelodeon, and I was very quickly shown by the level at which I was rejected that not every audition experience would be like School of Rock, where I auditioned for it and then I booked it, like after one callback, you know? Um, and I was just like, I'll audition for whatever I'm sent and do all that. But I don't think that at my age, at my experience level, that this is something that I really want to go like balls to the wall and pursue. And I also had an affinity for musical theater. So I was like, maybe I'll just go home and do the school play. I really just wanted a normal life. And a big something hilarious was that right before we went to go film School of Rock, I had been cast in the school play, the titular Alice in Wonderland. And I was just like, what? I'm going to miss playing Alice? Like, what? Come on. Like, and my mom was like, you're taking the movie. It's going to be huge. Like Jack Black's in it. You're going to take the movie. I was like, okay, fine. And she was like, I promise, like, when you get this, like, when you're done with this, there will be other opportunities for you to, play a lead character in a play. Um, and that did happen. I got to have that experience in high school and college where I got to do the school plays and then went on to do professional theater in Chicago and LA and New York. And I love all of it. But I don't know, that's like a very long-winded way to say um, there are always challenges in any rejection based industry, especially with acting. I mean, you know, especially as a girl, like there was a lot of like, oh, she's too tall, or oh, she, is too tall, but then her face looks too young, and a lot of physical stuff that I, of course, internalized and made about me, even though it was fully not about me. I just wasn't the right person to tell that story, you know. And I'm grateful for the fact that I didn't end up on a show like Zoe 101 or Hannah Montana or like God bless that girl Jeanette McCurdy. I mean, have you read her book?
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah.
read the book, but I know about a little bit about her story. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thank God I didn't end up working for Dan Schneider, you know? And one of my sisters from School of Rock, like she worked for Dan Schneider and she like ended up leaving that relatively unscathed, but I'm sure she's got some horror stories about it. And yeah, I'm very grateful for the fact that I left my experience as a child star and transitioned kind of seamlessly into, pursuing acting and performance as an adult, like with a couple battle scars, but nothing too crazy, you know.
Yeah, and I also know that you wrote a lot of this in an essay back in 2020 called Confessions of an Obsolete Child Actor too. So I know that you went into depth on that subject as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love writing, and that kind of came at a point where I was pretty newly sober, and I had had a couple years of like crashing out pretty bad with substance abuse and other addictive behaviors and tendencies. And I just like wanted to write a piece about it because like I don't think that my drinking and using was like directly a result of my being a child actor, but there's, a lot of the fears and the self-loathing that I had, that caused me to pursue the drinking career, um, were a result of, being a child actor who did one big thing and then kind of never popped off like after that. Um, but my views have really shifted and expanded since I wrote that piece. That piece was very well received and published pretty widely, and comes up a lot. And I often will say that even though the classic like trauma, I guess, that comes with being exposed in the public eye super young and having to deal with like gnarly comments from dudes on the internet and other things like bullying from kids when I got back to school. Um, all of it kind of made me who I am, which is pretty great. And I like myself quite a bit now, um, even if I didn't always.
Good for you. It can be tough to reflect on those things and be be happy where you are today and understand that going through that is what makes you the person who you are. So, um, but yeah, I one of the things I did find interesting, kind of going back for a second, is about the bands you mentioned about loving being in a band, right? And you've been in a number of bands over the years,
Yes.
but you also decided to start a solo project. So was it, did you change your mind or just needed to take a break from
No,
working with
I
others?
still I still need a band. Like I find myself, of course, I love going to the studio, just me and my producer, who his artist name is Blonder, but his he goes by Blonder, but his name's Constantine. Like when I approached Constantine, after we had worked on my single Big League Chew together, which was a co-write with another amazing prolific songwriter named Brasco. He works with Young Blood a lot, and I can't think of any of the others. Magdalene, like he's worked with a lot of really cool artists, and I met him at some like uh, a grunge tribute that we were both singing on in LA, and I was like, I have to write something with you. You're so cool. He was the only one. He sang Smells Like Teen Spirit, and he was like writhing around on the ground. I was like, that's a real rock star. Like, I want to work with that guy. And he's so fun. We wrote Big League Chew together, and then Constantine produced it. And after working with Constantine, I was just like, he's on another level. I want to work with him in another capacity. And then we wrote Miss Congeniality together. Um, I just love working with him, and he is like right now my bandmate. And so on some of the new stuff that I have coming out, in the next couple months, like it's just us in the studio. It's like me and him on all the instruments on the computer making these songs sound like they're coming from a band, but it's really just two guys. It's just me and him. But you know, now knowing that now that the songs are coming out, I need to perform them live. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, it can't just be me and an acoustic guitar. And so I am like on the hunt, putting it out there into the universe that I'm on the hunt for a hot girl band because that's always been my dream. You know, I guess going back to the like references of like movie. music movies, like Josie and the Pussycats, like changed my life when I first saw that when it first came out. And I was just like, I want to be in a girl band so badly. And so, even if it's a three piece and then I just have like Ableton pulled up and just play the like other like vocal tracks and, other cool like synth things in there, like I would love to front a girl band. And that's always been a dream of mine. But the bands that I played with, I was always the only girl. Even School of Rock, aside from like obviously the background singers, but like I was only girl instrumentalist and I wasn't singing much. And I can't deny, like, I love singing. It's probably of all of the instruments I know how to play, which is a handful, like singing is like where I really feel like the closest to God or whatever version of that I believe in today. Um, and yeah, I do miss playing with my bands, but I was never the um, main character, so I kind of had to take a step back and think about the kind of music I wanted to make before I bring other people into it.
Good for you. It's important to take the time and to find where your main character is, and to it takes time. It takes time to figure
Yeah,
those things out, and that evolves over time too, right? As a
totally.
musician, that might mean a completely different genre, might be a completely different look. Maybe it's just a tweak on the things that you've done before, but maybe in a different way. Maybe it was solo before, but now there's a full band that's backing it, right? So
Yeah.
it constantly changes.
Totally. And I think too, like my years doing film and like writing film, yes, I have a project called Gianna that's out. It's a short film that I wrote that I star in. I play two characters in it. I play basically like a fictionalized version of myself and then like a heightened evil version of myself, like an evil twin. And finding my creative voice in that way, it all is connected, right? I mean, who'd have thunk the mind, the body, spirit, the music stuff, the film stuff, the comedy stuff, it's all connected and makes one big Rivkah Reyes. And I feel like across all mediums, my art is always going to have this level of femininity to it. It's always going to have this kind of edginess to it, like a little bit of a bloody nose and smeared makeup to it and a grunginess, and it's always going to have something that makes you giggle. Um, the songs that I'm writing now are not overtly funny, although I did have a brief stint as a stand-up comedian who was doing kind of a Bo Burnham thing and like a comedic songwriting thing. And I did love doing all that, but the songs I'm writing are a little bit like self-deprecating, I guess, and hyper self-aware. And oftentimes I'll be playing a show and I'll sing a lyric that was like heartbreaking for me to write, and then people will laugh, and I'm like, good, it's working. Good, it's like making somebody feel something. Like that's all I want. And if that feeling is making that person laugh, whether it's out of, you know, like what did you just say? Or relatability or like discomfort, like good, it's working.
That's the point, right? And the end of the day is
Hmm.
whether it's music or film, is that you're trying to evoke some sort of emotion out of somebody, whether it's discomfort or whether it is, something that they're going to laugh to or cry or or just or feel elated about, whatever the case might be. But isn't that like the whole point, right?
It is. I want people
Is
to
make
feel
people.
things and I want them to feel seen, just like they did when they saw me on bass when I was a little kid. Like, the, for some reason, people latched onto that visual of a girl playing a bass guitar and not saying much and kind of being a little more reserved, but like still kind of giving off this cool energy, which I didn't know that was what I was giving off. I didn't know what I was doing at all. I was kind of just like, don't look at the camera, don't look at the camera, don't ruin the take, you know? And and then also like, when I was playing with the boys, I was always just like, yeah, this is so fun. Like, so I just was having a good time in that movie. I was either, yeah, just like thinking about not ruining takes and not breaking when Jack was saying something funny, um, but also having the freedom to just be myself, which is what ultimately Richard Linklater wanted with all the kids. He was just like, just be yourselves. Like these characters were like crafted for you guys, you know? The script was very different when we first got the audition. Like a lot of there's like a little darker humor in it, and there's some like weird stuff with the drummer character like popping Ritalin during class. Like, and they
Wow.
decided like, yeah, they're in fifth grade. Maybe we should, change that and, not make it like a preachy thing. They wanted it to be a little less cheesy. Um, and my character didn't even exist until I auditioned. So thank God I did. Thank God I came in there with the guitar in my hand and performed whatever song I auditioned with. Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. And then in my like second audition, they were like, we would love to see her rock out. So my parents bought me this electric guitar and I played I Want to Get Away by Lenny Kravitz. Fly Away is the name of the song. And really just like got into that. And they're like bassist.
Which is so funny because you've never played bass before. That's
I had never
amazing.
played bass. No, I kind of just like, but the second it was in my hand, I was like, I know what to do with this thing. And now I love playing bass. Like that's why I spent so many years in the back of boys' bands playing bass. It's because like, of course, like who doesn't want the girl from School of Rock playing bass in their band? But like, I loved playing bass. It was so fun, and I even got to play bass in a musical I did. We did this in Chicago. We did this really cool production of American Idiot, the Green Day musical, where all of the actors also played instruments. And so I played guitar in that show, but I also mainly played bass. Um, and it was super sick. I mean, I love any opportunity I get to play bass, even if I'm just practicing in my living room.
It's also amazing too because, as you mentioned, your calling, if you will, is singing, right, and is
Yeah.
vocals performances, and I mean that definitely comes through. I mean, you have an incredible voice. I mean, I've heard, I went and listened to a number of your singles, including we'll talk about in a bit here your latest single, Miss Congeniality, but. I mean that also shows the wide range that you can do. I mean, obviously between acting, but also being, like you mentioned, in the front person of the project itself. And that's I can tell, like, that's you're so passionate when you're talking about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Leo. I love being front and center. I love having a microphone. I love the power that having a beautiful voice gives me. Um, I don't know. I love being on stage, and I love giving people a good show.
Yeah, and you certainly do, and it comes across too, not only in the performances themselves, but also in the music videos, which I've noticed that you've done. I think almost a music video for every single, or at least most of them, is what I discovered.
Yeah, the one single that I have out there that doesn't have a music video is Chiquitita, but that was I made that specifically for Gianna, which one could say is the music video for Chiquitita, the cover that I did by ABBA. And I picked that song because I grew up listening to ABBA. ABBA's like one of my family, my mom's side, the Filipino side's favorite bands. And if you can call ABBA a band, I guess they're a band, right? There's four of
They are
them.
a
Yeah,
band.
sure.
ABBA is
They're a
definitely a band.
band. They're a
Yes,
rock band.
they are totally a rock
uh,
band.
they're
I'll fight
so
anybody
good.
who
Their
says
their
different.
music has such like what I love about ABBA is that every song has such high stakes and is so intense. Like,
Hmm.
oh God, The Winner Takes It All. Like that song just is so it goes so hard. I feel like it could be such a good metal song if somebody were to take that idea, take it, listen to this, and take that song and make it a metal song. But with Chiquitita, I had been listening to a lot of Boy Genius at the time and all of their individual stuff too. And I was really into Lucy Dacus. Her song Night Shift changed my life. When I heard that song for the first time, I was like, how does she know? How does she know exactly how I feel? Um, and I wanted to do kind of a Lucy Dacus esque cover of that song. And I weaved it into the movie. I kind of just was like, yeah, let's just find a place for this to seamlessly come up. and I made it the like main girl character's like song with her ex. And there's this shot in the movie where I like flash a Chiquitita tattoo, and I'm like, look, I just got this tattoo. And I don't know, but it was all like a ruse to just have a place for my cover of Chiquitita to go. I mean, it was also a ruse for me to get to play a, she-devil version of myself and act with like really hot girl that I had a crush on, and work with Margaret Cho. Um, and all of that, but I wanted Gianna to be kind of a calling card to show like what I could do both as an actor and a writer, but also as a music supervisor, because I did also pick all of the music for that movie and cast it and wear many, many hats on that project. But yeah, Chiquitita doesn't have a music video, but everything else does.
That's truly remarkable, and very much understand the wearing of multiple hats. I've several friends who are filmmakers, and I very much understand that role very well, where you have to
You
do
get it.
literally everything. Yep.
Especially
Uh,
with indie, and especially with a short
yes,
film that is super
yes.
low budget. Like, I mean, we had a pretty low budget on that film. It was a big budget for a short, but we did not have that much time. We were also working with like COVID and stuff like that, and locations that only were letting us have their space for a couple hours, things like that. So we were really scrappy with Gianna, and the other projects that I've produced too, ones that I've acted in, ones that I've not acted in. There's always a level of like scrappiness to them, and people wearing multiple hats, where like the first AD is also the line producer, and the second AD is also the wardrobe person, and hair and makeup is also a gaffer. Like it's just it's a fun world, but that's like also kind of like with band mentality, like when I was in Sweet Revenge, which was my band in high school, our lead guitarist was also our booking agent, and our drummer was also our driver. It's, there's always just this level of like, all right, who's wearing multiple hats? And I was always a diva. I was always just like, and I'll see you at the venue, and I'll be wearing a cute
Oh,
little
you were one of
outfit.
those. Yeah.
Back in the
You were
day,
one
I
of
mean,
those.
but the boys were always trying to
Yeah.
flex and like carry everything. I'd be like, "Are you sure I can't help you?" And they'd be like, "No, it's fine, we got it." But yeah, I was always such a like Stevie Nicks about it, even though I wasn't the lead singer. Yeah, I uh I love making music videos because I get to flex my filmmaker muscles and my actress muscles, because yeah, I like everything to be sort of cinematic. Even something as simple as Big League Chew, which I don't know if you noticed, the music video for Big League Chew is just one shot, me walking down the street, no
Yep.
cuts, no nothing, just me
Mm.
walking around in my neighborhood, listening to my own song on my headphones, which is something that I often do. And um feeling the song, and feeling the feelings that the song brings up when I play it, when I was writing it, and kind of just having this like flirty relationship with the camera. um, Whereas like something a little more high production value, like Forgot Your Name, where there was a huge cast, and we shot at our friend's house and in a little studio that we rented at Second City when I was living in Chicago. um, that's higher production value. um, Either way, it's just all visual storytelling that is in support of the story that the song is telling. And I grew up watching MTV when it used to be music videos. And that was a huge part of my morning ritual as a kid, was like I'd practice guitar, then, get ready. And then while I was waiting for my siblings to be ready and my mom to be ready to take us to school, I just put on whatever music videos was on TV and get inspired and learn from that. I mean, seeing the girls kiss in the rain for all the things she said, like I credit that with like why I realized I was gay, music videos have the power to, change lives in the same way that a movie or a good song does. um, Even the other day I just saw Charlie XCX put out a new music video for one of her new songs, Spring Summer 26, and it's like a direct reference to one of my favorite episodes of Sex in the City, and I'm like, oh, it's so cool that like us musicians like get to, play with those kinds of references, which is what I was hoping to do with Miss Congeniality.
Right, and that's actually, if I understand correctly, that's from the Sandra Bullock film, right? Which I love, by the way. It's
Of
one of,
course.
yes, I love that film. So, but that's kind of a reference to that film, correct?
A direct reference. Yeah, I watched that movie on the plane that I took to record that song. I wasn't going into that session thinking I was gonna write a song about Miss Congeniality, the movie, but I just knew that I was like going to LA to record some new stuff. And I was just like watching the movie and I was just like, dang, this is such a good movie. And I've seen it 100 times, but I had just walked away from a messy, like, can't even call it a relationship. Like, we'll call it a situationship or like a humiliation ship or a delulu ship or whatever you want to call it. And, it left me feeling like, dang, like, why is it that I am always in these situations where I'm so close and then I just don't get chosen? But they're like, oh, I'll always remember you. Like, you'll always be my favorite, like, whatever. And I'm like, why am I always the fan favorite, but never the girl who wins the dang pageant? Like, why am I always Miss Congeniality? And I was just like, that's a song. Like, I had to write it. It was like one of those things where, sometimes I don't like songwriting, but I do it because I have to, because the song has to be written, because it's like what I'm feeling. And, sometimes when I'm feeling big feelings about rejection or like relationships or whatever, instead of doing what my impulse is to do is, which is just shut the feelings down or like numb them out with like distracting myself with whatever. In the old days it used to be alcohol, but now I have other fun coping mechanisms. um why don't I like put it in a song instead? And so that's what we got, and I'm really happy with it. I it's it's one of my favorite songs I've written to date, just because it came from such this like primal feral place. And I feel like it also comes across in the music video and in the movie Miss Congeniality, of how, rough around the edges her character is, while still being the hottest girl in the room and still like kind of maintaining this pageant like composure, um, while also just being like a feral like fighter on the inside.
Which is an almost analogy to the music video itself, where it takes place in a boxing gym.
Yeah. Yeah. Never boxed a day in my life. I don't know if you can tell. Um, I've
No.
taken maybe I've taken maybe like four boxing classes in my life over the course of the last like 5 years, and I always have fun doing it. But I just love a sport or like an activity that like also requires like a little bit of a costume. So I love boxing for that reason. But yeah, my friends have this boxing gym down the street from my house, and it's like a queer trans owned gym. And I was just like, oh, it'd be so cool if we could get uh, that boxing gym for a couple of hours just to have fun and roll around and play in the boxing ring. And they had these pink gloves, and I was just like, perfect.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great music video, by the way, and so is the song. By both the single as well as the music video are both very well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a nice, it gives you a window into the new chapter of the solo project for where we're going. Because the first three singles, Sick and Another Vice and Big League Chew, I think all were like building blocks to
Hmm.
what I want my sound to be. And now with Miss Congeniality, I think we've found it.
I can tell there was essentially progression, but still there was like an underlying. Okay, I see the vibe that you're kind of going for, the types of genres, and which is also an interesting conversation about what genres are these days. But I can tell like the relative style that you're trying to go off of, where it's very where it's that kind of combination of everything that you talked about, right? Where it's like very kind of soothing, but also biting in the same way, and also messy at the same time. It's like all these combinations put together.
Yeah. I was interested to know like what genre you like kind of perceive it to fall under.
I, it's interesting because I was looking at it's really hard to nail down. I would say probably anywhere between indie pop rock, like, but I would definitely go more like I would actually go for more on the indie pop side personally, just from
Yeah.
the style
That's what
of it.
we're
I would say
going
indie pop.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always want to have guitar. I want it to be guitar forward, anything I do. Um, but I'm just such a child of the like late 90s, early 2000s, and I love No Doubt, and I love
mm,
grunge. Like grunge is my favorite, probably top listened to genre, like whether that's Soundgarden or Nirvana or like Ben Folds Five, like they
nice.
are
Yeah.
anything with
Hmm.
the I knew there was like a little Ben Folds in you somewhere. I
Oh,
think any
totally.
guy
You
with
kidding
glasses
me?
who
Yeah.
plays pianos who's from the same generation as me, I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, you like Ben Folds, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Pository, pository.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just got back from a writing retreat that he ran in California, and I was
Oh,
on
nice.
his like songwriting retreat for a couple of days, and I learned so much from him. And he's just like, I mean, one of my heroes. And that thing about like don't meet your heroes is like so not true with Ben. He's such an icon and so kind, and he was very helpful, and he's very just brilliant and smart, and I love his storytelling. And then that's the other thing that I always want to put at the forefront of everything, is that I'm a storyteller. I come from a long line of long-winded storytellers, and I however I can convey a story, whether that's through film, through music, through comedy, through a TikTok, through dance, through whatever it is. That's like when people can see the story, I'm like, yeah, yeah, it feels good. But yeah, we're kind of going for this like girly grunge, like bubble grunge is the official like genre that I'm writing under, and
Like
it's
that.
nice to have that umbrella of like, okay, does this uh, effect on the pedal kind of give that bubble grunge vibe? Can we find something that's closer to it? It's nice to have parameters like that.
Absolutely. I also appreciate too the fact that you are continuously not only trying to build out your team, but also at the same token are continuously learning on how to be better. I think that's also important to note too that you've been doing this for a while now, performing as a musician. I mean, pretty much your entire life, but you are still taking upon yourself to go and take workshops on songwriting. Even though you were writing as a child, you're still looking on how to be better about it today.
Yeah, well, I think there's something to be said about a group conscience. Like I was with, it was me and 14 other writers, all different genres, a lot of guys playing piano, a lot of like Billy Joel, Ben Folds types, but like, there was a girl who kind of had this like folky country vibe, and she was incredible. I mean, her voice was insane. Her guitar playing was so good, and her songs were so simple. And then there was a woman who writes kind of like Lizzo-y, but not she's like a white Lizzo. She kind of writes like funny pop songs that have a little bit of an FU energy to them, and God, she's amazing. And then like there's me, and like where I kind of fell into the group was like I'm the Bushwick lesbian who writes love question mark songs where it's like, is this a love song? I kind of think she hates this person, or maybe she hates herself, like, and I'm like, that's what I want, like that's what I want people to you know that's the kind of niche that I want to you know fill. That's the void in the universe that I want to fill. um you know and there's always like I said, like a little level of like, oh, I think that's funny. Was it supposed to be funny? With everything that I do.
Definitely is coming across, and again, Miss Congeniality is incredible, and can't wait to hear all the next songs that are coming out soon. So that's really exciting. we can start wrapping things up here. So I do have a
Sure.
couple of fun questions for you. So first
Okay.
question is, what was the very first concert that you ever went to?
Santana. Yeah, I went to
Santana. Ooh, that's
Santana with
good.
my dad, and it was at an outdoor venue in the suburbs of Chicago, and it was in the Rob Thomas era. So it was like right around that album coming out. I think the album's called Supernatural, and
Yes.
they did
Hmm.
Smooth, and of course they did Maria Maria. It was kind of when he was doing that crossover stuff, but then he of course played like the oldies, like Evil Ways, and oh God, it was so good. Sucks that he's transphobic now, but yeah, Santana. And then shortly after that, I went with my dad to see Elton John, which
Wow.
another banger of a concert to see as a kid. Oh God, I mean, I still love going to concerts with my dad. Like we used to go to Lollapalooza together every year.
Wow.
I've
Very
seen like
cool.
Tom Petty with my dad. I've seen Green Day, Gaga, like Radiohead, Yellow Card.
Wow, that's
You
a
can,
wide range. That's a huge
yeah,
range. That's
yeah,
awesome, though.
yeah, yeah.
Do you have? Actually, I'm going to ask you this question. It's a little bit different from what I ask other guests. What was the last film that you actually watched?
The
What was the
last
last film you
film that
watched?
I actually watched, oh God, I watched something on the plane to the writers' retreat. What did I watch? Oh, I watched Is This Thing On? It's a newer movie with Will Arnett and Laura Dern,
Hmm.
and I really loved it. It was so good. I don't typically like that genre, like mumblecore. I guess that's a lie. I do like mumblecore. It's just like recent mumblecore films have not been great. But this one was really good, and I think Bradley Cooper directed it or wrote it, or maybe both. And
Interesting.
yeah, Will Arnett and Laura Dern are getting a divorce, and I don't want to spoil too much, but like Will Arnett starts doing stand up, and it's just about this
Hmm.
like sad dad's like journey doing stand up, and he's so good in it. I mean, I love Will Arnett. I'm a huge Arrested Development fan. Like that show, when I first watched that show, I think it was like a couple years after it had finished. I was in late high school, probably early college. I was like, I want to write comedy. I want to do that. And I just thought it was such a smart show. So I've loved Will Arnett since those days. But yeah, it was really good acting from him and from Laura Dern. Bradley Cooper's also in it, and he's great. He's great in everything, though. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. That looked really interesting, so I might put that on my list. I'm actually looking forward to Power Ballad that's about to come out soon from this recording. So
Yeah,
with Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas. Is it Nick? I think
yeah.
it's Nick. Yeah.
It is Nick.
So
I
that
saw
look.
the trailer
Yeah.
for it, and I was like, "What?" I was kind of
Yeah,
like, "Are
it.
you?"
I think
Oh,
it premiered at South by and got incredible reviews. So
oh,
they said
good.
it's
Okay.
really, really good. And I've been wanting. I mean, there's the Michael biopic that came out, which I didn't get a chance to see, but I do want to see that. But
I
I've been
want to
waiting
see
for
that
like
so
a
bad.
yeah. But I've been happy to see a lot more of music related films that are coming out recently, and and I'm glad to
Yeah,
see that Power Ballad is getting a lot of really good reception already. So been
yeah.
aiming to go and see that.
I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan too. I'm Filipino. We love Michael Jackson. It's like a part of our culture. Michael Jackson and ABBA are like the big ones
Yeah,
for
of the two,
the
yeah.
Philippines. And yeah, I really can't wait to see that movie. I think it's gonna not be a theatrical watch for me. I did just see Devil Wears Prada 2 in theaters, and that was
Mm.
one of the most fun cinematic experiences I've ever had, being a super fan of the first movie.
I need to see that too. I actually surprisingly only saw the first one only like a couple of weeks ago or a month or two ago. I've never seen it. I know I never seen it before, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll throw it on. I really loved it. I thought that was fantastic, and
It's
still,
one of the
I
best
mean,
movies of
for
all time.
yeah, it was just I was like, wow, like, and now I know why people love this movie so much. This is really well done from start to finish, and it held
Yeah.
up pretty well for a film from 2006, I think it is. So it's been 20 years since since
Yeah.
the
Wow.
last one. So Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
the
so
second
actually
one's a
funny.
treat. The second one's like
So,
nice if like if you've recently seen the first one, I think go and see the second one super soon. Because like it's still kind of fresh in the brain. But like for me, a person who has seen The Devil Wears Prada 8,000 times, probably more than I've seen Miss Congeniality.
mm,
Because Miss Congeniality is also like maybe in my like top letterbox top four, up there with Devil Wears Prada, and I would also say Jennifer's Body, and uh, we'll say She's the Man. Uh, those are like my four. Maybe honorable mention for Holes, which is deep cut. But anyway, I could talk about
wow.
movies all day. Comfort movies is like my special interest. Having been in one, having been in one of most people's comfort movie.
Okay, last question for you, and I'll let you go. If you're only able to give one piece of advice to someone else, what would that one piece of advice be?
Tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Be honest in all your endeavors, and I think that'll get you pretty far. And I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have another fun question? I think let's do one more.
You want to do one more fun question? Oh, okay. Um, do you have a guilty pleasure? I like to ask that question too. Like guilty pleasure, that could be
Ooh,
anything.
it
Film,
could be anything.
music,
Food,
television, food. Guilty pleasure.
Taco Bell.
Okay, what do you have a particular order Taco Bell or you change it up?
Yeah, well, I don't eat a lot of meat. I especially don't do fast food meat. So I will get a black bean Crunchwrap Supreme, and I'll usually get some spicy potato tacos as well. That's my order. Two spicy potato tacos and a black bean Crunchwrap Supreme. And lately I've been liking the Baja Blast dirty sodas that they do. It's like I guess it's a Baja Blast with half and half in it, but it actually tastes really good.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've been on a ironically a Chick-fil-A kick lately.
I've
I
never had Chick-fil-A. They didn't really have it in
Yeah,
Chicago.
they
It
don't
wasn't
have
really a Chicago thing.
yeah, it's not really an East Coast thing. It's more of a West Coast thing and but Chick-fil-A is good. Like I don't I'm not gonna lie. I do Dungeons and Dragons every Tuesday night with a bunch of friends of mine and my brother and so that's one of our go-tos is Chick-fil-A and never had the sauce and I gotta say the sauce is banging good. Like I couldn't believe it. For the longest time I had Chick-fil-A. I'm like, the sauce, whatever. And everyone's like, you've never had their sauce before? I'm like, no, it's sauce. And now it's just like I can't get enough of it.
Do you
So
guys
good.
have Raising Cane's out there?
We do. We have Raising Canes out here too. Yeah,
I
we have
love
Raising
Raising
Canes.
Cane's.
Raising Cane's good. I actually did try that the first time about a year ago, and that was pretty
Me
good. And their
too.
sauce is good too. Yeah, so that was pretty good. I mean, In and Out is like always a go like a default.
I
It's
love In
just
and Out.
and so see, like some people are so divided on that one. I
No,
don't.
I love animal fries. That's my go-to order there because I like I said, I don't really do like fast food meat, but I love animal fries.
Yeah, I'm a big meat eater, so like I always like my order's down. It's like number three protein style because I can't do gluten. So number three protein style with a pink lemonade drink. And it's like that's no like by heart. I know exactly what I'm getting when I roll up to that window. So
Yeah.
yeah, In and Out is always a good choice. I actually also really like Shake Shack. Like Shake Shack, if you want to go like a little
Yeah,
bit more premium, like Shake Shack's a good. I just
totally.
had Shake Shack last
Shake
night, in
Shack's
fact.
good. There's a Shake Shack right by the Barclays Center, which is where the WNBA games are. So we love a little Shake Shack after the game.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Rivka, so much. This was such a wonderful conversation and telling the truth. Like seriously, like I had such a blast, and honestly, I think we could go on forever.
Oh my
But
God, I could talk to you for
yeah,
hours. You're so fun.
yeah. Oh, thank you so much. You're the
Wait,
best.
I
So
have a
thank you so
question for
much.
you. What's your favorite Ben
Yes.
Folds song?
Oh, "Rockin' the Suburbs." I love that song. I know it's one of
Okay.
his most popular ones, but but "Rockin' the Suburbs." I like just jamming that song. It's just so much fun. I haven't listened to Ben Folds in a while though. I've been, most of my music taste, especially lately, has been the alt emo crowd because that's just like the music that I mostly represent. So
Yeah.
a lot like I came I I was my grew up on in high school with Jimmy Eat World and Linkin Park and all those
Yeah,
bands. So like that's
same.
always been my thing. So I've been like super obsessed with this band called Stand Atlantic. They're one of my favorite bands right now. They're from Australia. And Lolo, I've been listening to a lot of her music lately too, and she's awesome. And
How about Julia
so like
Wolf? You into Julia Wolf at all?
I've no, I have to put that on my list. So
Check her
Julia
out. Yeah,
Wolf,
check out
yeah.
Julia Wolf. Her, I think it was an EP, maybe it was an album. But her song, she has a song called "In My Room" that has gone pretty viral. And then she has another one called "Pearl" that is referencing the A24 horror film Pearl. I love Julia
Okay,
Wolf.
cool.
She's got an amazing voice, and she's kind of on like an emo pop kind of vibe.
I'll check her out because I've been actually been hungry again for a list. I've been on my like kick of like I want to listen to my comfort stuff right now, but I've been
Yeah.
kind of like inkling back into like, oh, I want to check out some new stuff lately, and some of my favorite
Yeah,
artists have been
ebb
dropping
and
some new
flow like
singles.
that as well.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I just want my like my. I had like a playlist called like 2000s Nostalgiatron, and it's all like the techno stuff from that era, and I was just like on that kick for a while, and just like I just want my like my old high school days kind of stuff, and nowadays it's I've been trying to go back into like, oh no, I really should just be checking out some new stuff now.
Well, great. Well, I
Well,
hope to be in that new stuff playlist soon, and
oh,
yeah, I
absolutely,
think I've
definitely,
got more new stuff coming very soon.
for sure. Well, thank you so much again, Rivka. This was such a blast. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.